Emma Parker never imagined her marriage would be tested in the ways it eventually was. She had grown up in a small town in Illinois, the kind of place where neighbors waved from their porches and people trusted one another without hesitation. Trust, to Emma, wasn't just a value, it was her foundation. When she married Mark Parker, her college sweetheart, she thought she had secured a lifetime of loyalty and stability. But life has a way of exposing cracks, especially the ones we never want to admit are there. At 32, Emma felt like she was juggling everything. She worked part-time as a preschool teacher while also raising their 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Mark, a financial consultant, spent long hours at the office and frequently traveled for work. At first, Emma believed his dedication was noble, a sign that he wanted to provide the best for their family. But over time, those absences began to sting, leaving her to navigate most of life's ups and downs alone. It all began on an ordinary Thursday morning. Emma woke early, as usual, to prepare breakfast before Lily's school bus arrived. She scrambled eggs, sliced fruit, and packed lunches while Mark hurried through the kitchen in his tailored navy suit, his phone pressed firmly against his ear. "Do you even have time to eat?" Emma asked, trying to sound light-hearted though her words carried a hint of frustration. Mark flashed her a quick smile, barely looking up. "I'll grab something on the way. Big meeting today, you know how it is." Emma nodded, but the pit in her stomach grew heavier. She watched him rush out the door, tie askew, briefcase swinging. Something in the way he avoided her eyes that morning unsettled her. That unease lingered all day. When Emma picked Lily up from school and drove past the grocery store downtown, she froze. Parked near the edge of the lot was Mark's car. She slowed down, confusion clouding her mind. He was supposed to be at his office across town. Why was his car here in the middle of the day? She considered it might just be coincidence. Maybe he stopped for something quick. But as her eyes searched the scene, she noticed movement inside the vehicle. Mark wasn't alone. Emma's grip tightened on the steering wheel. A woman with blonde hair sat in the passenger seat, leaning closer toward Mark, her expression hidden but unmistakably intimate. Emma's chest constricted. She quickly pressed the gas pedal, driving past before Lily could notice anything unusual. That night, Emma's world spun in chaos. She replayed the image over and over. Had she really seen what she thought she had? Was she reading too much into it? Maybe it was a colleague. Maybe it was nothing. But the gnawing ache in her gut refused to quiet down. Days passed, and the distance between her and Mark became more noticeable. He came home later than usual, his excuses vague. He seemed distracted, his phone buzzing at odd hours, always face down on the table. Emma's heart hurt with every unanswered question. One evening, after Lily went to bed, Emma decided she couldn't ignore the truth any longer. She sat across from Mark in their living room, the soft glow of the lamp illuminating the space between them. "Mark," she began carefully, "I need to ask you something." He glanced up from his laptop, his expression guarded. "What is it?" Emma swallowed hard. "Are you seeing someone else?" Silence filled the room. Mark's jaw tightened, his fingers stilled over the keyboard. For a moment, Emma thought he might laugh it off, deny everything, reassure her that she was imagining things. But instead, he sighed heavily and closed the laptop. "I never wanted to hurt you, Emma," he said quietly. Her chest caved in as though the air had been stolen from the room. Tears blurred her vision. "So it's true." Mark rubbed his forehead. "It was a mistake. It's not serious. Things between us have felt distant, and I made a terrible choice." Emma shook her head, her voice trembling. "A terrible choice? Mark, you didn't just break a rule. You broke us. Do you even realize what you've done to me?" Her voice cracked, and she whispered, "I begged you to slow down, to be present, to see me, but you pushed me away. And now this." Mark reached for her hand, but she pulled it back as if his touch might burn her. The weight of betrayal pressed down harder than anything she had ever known. The days that followed were filled with tension. Emma tried to maintain normalcy for Lily's sake, but inside, she was unraveling. Her best friend, Sarah, noticed immediately. They met at their favorite coffee shop on a rainy afternoon, the steam rising from their cups as Sarah leaned in. You don't have to go through this alone, Sarah said gently. You deserve honesty. You deserve love that doesn't make you question yourself every night. Emma's tears spilled freely. I don't even know who I am anymore. I thought I was a good wife, a good mother. What did I do wrong? Sarah squeezed her hand. This isn't about you. His choices don't define your worth. Emma let those words settle in her heart. For the first time in days, she felt the faint flicker of strength return. She began journaling at night, pouring out her pain and confusion on paper, trying to make sense of the storm inside her. One evening, Lily crawled into her lap, her small hands holding Emma's cheeks. "Mommy, are you sad?" she asked innocently. Emma hugged her daughter tightly, her tears dampening Lily's hair. "A little, sweetheart. But I'll be okay. I promise." It was in that moment Emma realized she had to find her strength not only for herself but for her daughter. She couldn't allow betrayal to dictate the rest of her life. Weeks passed, and Emma began walking in the park every morning. The crisp autumn air cleared her mind, and the falling leaves reminded her that seasons change, that pain could transform into something new. Mark tried to make amends, apologizing, suggesting counseling, even bringing flowers home. But Emma knew the decision wasn't about whether he was sorry. It was about whether she could rebuild trust after it had been shattered. She spent nights reflecting, journaling, and talking with Sarah. Slowly, clarity emerged. She realized she didn't want to live in constant suspicion, waiting for the next betrayal. She wanted peace, independence, and the freedom to rediscover herself. One Saturday morning, she sat across from Mark at the kitchen table. Lily was at a friend's house, giving them rare privacy. "Mark," Emma said, her tone steady, "I've thought a lot about this. I know you want to fix things, but I can't go back to how things were. I need to move forward, even if that means without you." Mark's shoulders slumped, his eyes glistening. "Emma, please. Don't give up on us." She shook her head gently. "I'm not giving up. I'm choosing myself. I begged you for years to slow down, to make time for us, and you didn't listen. Now, I have to listen to myself." Those words marked a turning point. The weeks that followed were not easy. Divorce papers were filed, tears were shed, and the reality of separation set in. But Emma also felt a strange sense of liberation. She began attending community events, making new friends, and even enrolling in a local art class she had once dreamed about but never pursued. Healing wasn't instant. There were nights when the loneliness felt unbearable, when memories of happier times tempted her to doubt her choice. But every morning she woke up and saw Lily's smiling face, she was reminded that moving forward was the right decision. @c